Hi, I'm Megan. I'm from Mama Nurture Wellness, and I write the Nerdy Doula.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about, Megan, just you and your background and all your different training and what you bring to moms.
Yeah, so I'm a human and microbiologist. I'm also a lactation consultant, a birth doula, and a massage therapist.
It's a lot of great services. And do your clients get to benefit from your knowledge kind of in all those areas?
They do. Yeah, a lot of my clients use me for multiple services, so kind of has, a really great continuity of care, so you don't have to get used to a lot of different people with a lot of different philosophies.
Cool. And so what was your path to kind of like what came first in this progression of you?
Well, let's see. I became a massage therapist. I graduated when I was like 21. I'm not going to date myself, but
it was like yesterday when she was 21. She graduated yesterday. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. So I graduated from massage school a long time ago, and I became a certified neuromuscular therapist shortly thereafter, and I've always been a board certified massage therapist. And, I've had a lot of continuing education, a lot of my massage career before I had my kiddo. I started out with, working in neurology, physical therapy, acute accident clinic, a lot of different massage.
And then you kind of moved into the perinatal, which is a new word for me, guys, perinatal, which refers to?
It refers from the conception to 2 years after birth.
So a lot of us are in that window, and we may stay in that window into our next pregnancy, right? And now we're going to go to the next one, and we're still 2 years postpartum from the last one. So that's called perinatal. And Megan serves mamas who are in all aspects of that perinatal phase.
Right.
Your massage, that's great. And so then you added the microbiology. Did that come next, or was it doula?
Yeah, well, when I was pregnant with my son, I started a bachelor's degree.
Crazy. Let's go to school. We're having a baby. Let's do it.
In human and microbiology with a minor in human nutrition. So
cool.
Yeah. So it was through, and in the middle of that, I decided I wanted to be a midwife. So I got I got a birth doula certification, yeah. Cool. And then as part of the birth doula stuff, you have to have some lactation. So I decided to become an IBCLC.
Ooh, why not go for the gold, people? And that's what it is when you're in your IBCLC. That's the highest certification for a lactation consultant, and you sit for that exam this fall. Mm-hmm. Very, very exciting. And you have another thing on the horizon. What's next?
Yeah, I was just accepted to Johns Hopkins for an online post-bac in public health.
So guys, thanks, Ashley. I got this dress with my friend Ashley, and I'm repping LuLaRoe today. So anyway, guys, so Megan has a ton of qualifications in a lot of different areas, and we kind of subtitled our talk today Where Science Meets Birth, because we're going to be able to address questions that kind of do bring that scientific side to what we do. And a lot of our doulas are incredibly nurturing, and I know that that's part of the name of your business and certainly part of your character. But on top of that, you got this foundation of science, kind of bringing it all together. So to get us started, Megan, I would love to hear from your perspective, like, who is the ideal birth client?
So for me, the ideal birth client is someone who wants something better than the status quo. They don't want to just go with the flow in their birth. They want, they know what they want, and they want to get that. So
cool.
Yeah, they want respectful treatment from their caregivers. They want to have a great birth experience no matter what happens in the process.
Cool. And specifically, you've worked with a lot of moms who maybe are on number 2 and didn't have the experience they were looking for the first time around.
Yeah. I've worked with quite a few moms with traumatic birth experiences. So kind of working through that and helping them come to a really great place with it, to go into their next labor with with a fresh start.
Feeling prepared and confident and ready for that.
Right.
That's amazing. And so let's see, like when you interview, because I know I've gone through the experience obviously on the mom side, interviewing doulas and trying to find the right fit. And how is that for you? Like what are some things that maybe you're looking for?
In an interview?
Yeah.
So I usually ask my moms what their ideal birth is, you know. Do they see themselves as the kind of mom that wants an epidural? Do they see themselves as, you know, the kind of mom that wants to give birth at home? You know, yeah, just kind of get an idea of where they are and what they want with their birth.
And do you like coach moms who maybe don't have an idea at all of what that looks like? Like maybe you don't have a birth plan. Maybe this is your first time, you're just getting started. Can you work with them to kind of establish that?
Oh yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I do a lot of that too. So.
Great. And so what kind of questions do you think that moms should be asking when we meet doulas?
What kind of certification do you have? You know, DONA and CAPA tend to be the two gold standards. DONA being the oldest and most established in the industry. They are in a bunch of different countries. They are all over the world. They've been around for forever. And I know that when I was talking to Vanderbilt about graduate school, the one that they cared about was DONA. They're like, oh, you're a doula. Oh, DONA? Yes.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Very good to know. Okay, so where are you certified? And then, you know, would we ask them, like, maybe have you attended births in a lot of different settings?
Right. You know, have you attended births in different settings? What kind of continuing education have you had? You know, I mean, do you do spinning babies? Do you know, have you done advanced practice workshops? Have you broadened your horizon from your 3-day workshop? Those kind of things.
Do number of births reflect that, or would you combine that almost with like education? So, you know, because I imagine some of it you just got to see. I've only been at one birth in my life.
Right.
So is it exposure as well as education, or how would you rank those?
Well, as a doula, you know, you're pretty low on that clinical ladder there, you know, and you don't really have a lot of, you know, as far as different things that happen, you know, you don't really have a lot of control. So focusing on supporting your moms no matter what happens and making them feel good about that is really the most important, right? Because it's not in a doula's scope to try and control the birth, right? That's the midwife's standpoint, right? So, you know, it's interesting, you know.
Okay. All right. So I saw something on your website that I need to ask about because it's a phrase we see a lot, but well, two little catchphrases I'm going to ask you about. So the first is evidence-based. What does that mean?
So evidence-based care is a 3-legged stool, right?
Okay.
It is what is the actual research evidence saying, right? It's also your medical providers' experience and preferences and how they like to treat. And it's also your preferences as the care receiver and the person at the center of that care. So it's a way of kind of pulling all that together. And right at the center of that is informed consent in the medical care. So that is, it's a lot different than what we think of initially. You know, when we think of informed consent, you know, we're thinking consent forms, right?
Yeah, that's like permission slips for field trips.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah. But, you know, in medical care, it's an ongoing conversation that you engage with your medical provider, be that a midwife, an OB, or a family practice physician. And so, you know, it's you asking questions, and it's you asking for options, and also risks and benefits, and you being allowed to make your own decisions about that.
When we say you, we mean moms.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Mom's asking questions.
Mom's asking questions.
And part of what you bring to the table is the ability to kind of guide mom into what should we be asking at this juncture?
Right.
Okay, we just got this new information. Like, how are we going to process it? And how do you want to react to what you're being told, maybe, or what you're told your choices are? So you're kind of just shepherding along that path.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of it is educating dads. Or,
let's not leave out to dads.
Or partners.
Okay.
You know,
partners.
Yeah.
They get a voice.
About doing that. Right. Well, you know, at some point in, you know, just about every mom's labor, there comes to a point where mom doesn't want to think through those things. It becomes very, very difficult, you know, because you're focusing on contractions and they're getting closer and closer together. So, you know, as you have
less time between contractions to put it all together and ask a question.
Exactly. You know, so yeah, educating your partner or your birth partner and that, and how to help you through that. Cool. Is really helpful.
Okay, so evidence-based, that's what it means. It's a three-legged stool, guys.
Right.
And then the other question I want to ask you about is you say that we use this word holistic. So let's talk about maybe in how you interpret that to be and how you take a holistic approach, and then maybe how this term may have deviated in marketing. And you know, I'm a marketer, so I can't really dog on all of us, but sometimes we take it too far. So what does holistic mean to you, and how do you practice holistic care?
So holistic care is taking care of the whole person, right? It's nutrition education, it's emotional, psychological, it's sociological, it's based on, you know, what's going on in your health, what's going on in your life, just kind of taking everything, kind of wrapping it into a nice package.
So would you consider like the body work that you do, it falls under that, and making sure that like those first moments of breastfeeding are really successful, and that's all encompassed in your definition of holistic?
Right. Well, you know, I work with my moms on childbirth education, nutrition education, breastfeeding, you know, ways to talk to their care provider. You know, we go through how mom's feeling, you know, and a lot of moms experience, you know, depression and anxiety and stuff like that, even when they're pregnant, you know, and getting them in touch with, you know, care providers that are professionals and kind of focus in different areas that kind of fall outside of my scope. Just making sure that, you know, moms are taken care of. You know, there's a big wide net here in Denver that, you know, can catch moms and we can really help them out.
I like saying catch moms because we're normally catching babies. So let's catch moms too.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to be in that like safe net.
You do. You know, it's like happy mom, happy baby. You know, this whole like healthy mom, healthy baby is great. But, you know, what about happy mom?
Yeah, happy's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Totally.
So what are you kind of nerding out over at the moment?
Oh my goodness.
This is a big question. You don't call yourself the Nerdy Doula if you're not like have a few things. Megan and I went to see a documentary about the microbiome. Yeah. That was pretty nerdy. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Microbirth.
Really incredible.
Yeah, talking about all the strains that make up our bodies. So that was really cool.
Hundreds, thousands, millions.
Yeah. They said, was it more than 90% of us are actually, 90% of what compose us is actually bacteria.
Microbial, yeah.
And only 10% is mammalian.
That's right. Right. So, you know, if you do a genome study of your microbiomes, right, you have like 2 to 3 million genes that are actively writing proteins. And a mammalian cell, right, we have about 25,000. Isn't that interesting, right?
Not too many mammalian cells.
No. And not too many genes in those. You know?
So since I saw that documentary, I run screaming from hand sanitizer. We're just doing regular old soap at our house, no more hand sanitizer, because, you know, we need bacteria.
Totally.
And the more dirt that my kid eats and my dog tracks in, I'm just gonna embrace that.
Right. There was an interesting study done where they took a bunch of kids, and they split them into 3 groups, where one group had 2 animals, right? One group had 1 animal, and one group had no animals. And then they split those into 2 groups, right? 1 animals went outside, 1 animal stayed inside, right?
Okay.
And they found that the group with the 2 animals that went outside had the least amount of allergies of any other group. And the group that had the most amount of allergies was the group with no pets that stayed inside. Right? So it's like that exposure.
So like an indoor cat is not as good as an indoor-outdoor cat.
Right. Because it's a constant exposure to your environment, to bacteria, to different pathogens and stuff like that in your environment, your local environment, that help to build your immune system.
So I kind of jumped in there. I love that tidbit, but is there anything else that you're nerding out over right now that you want to share with us?
The use of probiotics in prevention of GBS positive is kind of getting really interesting. And like how those 2 microbiomes are so intimately connected.
Okay, so let's just back up. Probiotics. Are you a person that says like refrigerated section of Whole Foods has to be cold? Don't get the shelf stable kind. Okay. We want the cold probiotics.
Right, you want the live probiotics.
Okay.
If they're shelf stable, they're no longer actively dividing because they're comfortable in a warmer environment, right? And they don't do
We want that
new.
To multiply.
Right.
Your cold probiotics. Okay.
Right. So if you have a cold probiotics, they're more likely to reach your intestines alive, which is, a dead microbe doesn't really do you a lot of good.
You're just taking, right now, because I am pregnant, as you guys know, my pile of vitamins keeps expanding, and I saw Megan for a massage on Saturday, and she said, well, why don't you add some magnesium glycinate or gluconate to the mix? So now, I'm taking 10 pills a day, but the point of the probiotic, if it's not a good one, don't bother. So, they're using probiotics in pregnancy to treat GBS positive?
I'm interested about that possibility. Yeah. They don't tend to research things that are preventative.
Right. Let's wait till everybody's messed up. Okay, but let's talk about GBS positive, because maybe not everyone's familiar with that term.
Right.
So enlighten.
So GBS is a strain of bacteria that that sometimes inhabits the vaginal microbiome, and when it does so, and you're pregnant, you're about to have a baby, you run the risk of it colonizing your infant. And this microbe in particular really is adept at attacking infants, right? Like colonizing them, going into their lungs, causing pneumonia, or, from the lungs and they enter the blood and cause septicemia and stuff like that. And, you can end up with some pretty serious outcomes from that, which is why, at 36 weeks, you have you test positive for GBS.
So we're all getting tested at 36 weeks generally to see if is it carrying GBS or if it's positive for GBS. Am I saying that right? Okay.
If you're positive for GBS, right? So if it's detectable, the idea is that if there's a colony in there somewhere, right? And so the pathogenesis is a little bit different.
But we're normally treating that with antibiotics during labor. Is that right?
Right. So, once you reach that 36 weeks, it's really up to the philosophy of your care provider, and whether they test again or whether, there are certain providers that can't test again. So preventing that from happening in the first place is really a really great way to preserve both yours and your baby's microbiome from birth.
Good stuff. Yeah, that's great. So that's what you're like. I guess I asked the question, but you're reading about this, researching, wondering. This is on the mind.
Always, yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I'm always out for, there's, since 2011, there have been something like 5,000 microbiome studies come out from the NIH, right? And before that, there was only 10.
So proportionately, that's a massive increase. We're all of a sudden very interested in microbiome.
Well, we just figured it out that it's a big deal.
Oh.
And it's kind of a new thing in science, it's like this microbiome is huge.
Well, and I just back up, I guess, because, we learned this I learned it in the documentary, but a major part of establishing the microbiome is how you're born and how we enter the world, right? And the idea that like, even if you're born via C-section, you can get swabbed and get some of those same like amazing vaginal germs. I mean, a phrase that I didn't really think that I would be saying today, but we're going there. So, you know, and getting all that good bacteria and starting your life off. And, you know, I was born via C-section, so I didn't get that. Yeah. But now there's some like all kinds of connections and things that are being studied, right? With like how you come into the world and maybe how you're impacted by the bacteria that you get exposed to right away.
Right.
So what about like a hospital where they're like definitely doing the hand sanitizer thing everywhere?
Well, that's good because you don't want your care provider's microbiome on your baby.
I want my baby to have mine.
Right.
And my partner's.
Right.
And our dirty dog that comes in and out.
Yeah. Yeah. But not, you know, someone else who lives somewhere else and, you know, it's going to develop differently.
Yeah. Okay, guys, we got a few more minutes with Megan, with our Nerdy Doula. So please do shoot us a question if you're watching on Facebook or on the Hangout. We would love to take your questions and probe further into this amazing mind that's continuing to develop. So let's see what else is new. Do you have to study for your IBCLC exam?
I do. I need to do that.
And how many hours does that usually represent of like working with moms on breastfeeding type stuff? Is there like an hour requirement for IBCLC?
Yeah, there's it requires 90 hours of education. It requires certain science credits, college level. It also requires, I did a pathway 3, so all of my clinical hours had to be supervised by a recertified IBCLC, so someone who had been doing it for at least 5 years.
Cool. Yeah. And so there's a lot of different even types of lactation education. Maybe we could talk about that really quickly, right? I mean, I've seen like CLE.
It's about a 20-hour course.
Okay.
CLC is a 45-hour course.
Okay. And then above that is when you're an internationally board certified.
Right. So, yeah, the IBCLC is actually has like the scope of practice to care for preemies, kids with Down syndrome, you know, all kinds of different issues, you know, diagnose thrush, tongue ties, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So.
Good stuff. Good resources that we all need to be.
Yeah. And breastfeeding is a really important part of that microbiome.
Oh, breastfeeding for the microbiome. Thanks for bringing that back around. Sure. I love when things get kind of, imagine a 3-legged stool. Megan just kind of brought it all together.
Totally.
Good job. So breastfeeding for the microbiome.
Yeah, it's actually really interesting. Colostrum doesn't really have any sugar in it, right? So it's mostly protein and electrolytes, right? It also has over 500 different microbes in it, right? So it's really your first probiotic food, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's also a really high concentration of something called sialic acid, right? Sialic acid that's in colostrum supports your baby's huge arborization of the neurons in their brain. So it's like this huge brain growth event in about 3 days.
Okay, you said arborization. Yeah. That made me think of trees.
Right. So the neurons in your brain kind of grow and they branch like trees. And it's those different connections and how many of them and how they're connected that controls, you know, how your brain functions.
So, you know, when we have our colostrum is like before our milk comes in and every mom's like, oh, my milk's not in yet. But
it's colostrum.
And the colostrum is helping the arborization of your baby's neurons.
Right.
So that's a really important action that's happening right at the beginning.
It's amazing. And you can't get that from anywhere else but colostrum.
So you know how bodybuilders are buying our breast milk. Maybe they need to start. Now there's going to be an aftermarket for colostrum. Just saying, could happen.
Well, you know, it's better that your baby gets it, but sure.
Than if I'm selling it on Craigslist. Okay, that's true. And then how soon are our bodies actually starting to build colostrum when we're pregnant?
It usually happens in the 3rd trimester.
Okay, getting ready, revving it up.
You might notice that, you know, nipples kind of leak some yellowish fluid.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I Googled that in my first pregnancy because I was like, something's wrong.
Yeah.
First time time mom problems versus the second time around.
And there are a lot of second time moms that actually start collecting that.
What do you mean collecting?
Well, they collect it prenatally, and then like moms with breast growth issues and stuff like that, they produce a lot of colostrum, and it's a way for their babies to get more colostrum.
Okay.
After they're born.
Should I be collecting mine?
How did you breastfeed the first time? Did you have like a low supply?
No.
Then you're probably fine.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
It's good to have friends that know people. If you want to connect more with Megan, you can check her out at mamanurturewellness.org. Nurture like Mama Nature, but Mama Nurture, because that's what she does. And we'll be sure to post a link in the comments. And thanks so much, Megan, for being with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great.
Yeah.
Let's see. Finish. Cool. Stop.